You know that feeling, that ache, that longing for something that's so intense, it's almost beautiful in a sad way. Well, today we're going to dive into a 600-year-old Korean poem that just nails this exact feeling. It's called Chae-ryeon-gok, and trust me, its message about love and loss is just as relevant today as it was way back in the 15th century. So let's get into it and peel back the layers of this incredible piece of work. So, can a simple song about picking flowers really get into the deepest secrets of the human heart? I mean, on the surface, it sounds pretty straightforward, right? But what's so amazing about this poem is how it takes that one simple act and uses it to map out this whole emotional journey, from a feeling of total peace and beauty all the way to some really deep sorrow. It's pretty incredible. All right, so let's start our journey. The poem kicks off on what sounds like a perfect day. The whole point at the beginning here is to just paint this picture for us, to set a scene that's just completely serene and peaceful. So the poem is called Chaeryeong-gok, and it was written by a scholar named Seong Gan all the way back in the Joseon Dynasty, which was around the 15th century. And the name itself gives us a huge clue. Chae means to pick, ryeon is a lotus flower, and gok means song. So put it all together and you get the song of picking lotuses. Right away, you get this really gentle, almost countryside vibe. Okay, so here's the very first line. The weather in May at Yagye stream is fresh and new. Now, this was written in Hanja, the Korean way of using Chinese characters, and it reads Yagye awal tonki sin. And get this, Yagye wasn't just some made-up place. It was a real stream, and it was famous for its lotuses. So the poet is immediately dropping us into a location that's already legendary for its beauty. It really sets up this perfect, almost dreamlike scene. And this is where we get to look at the building blocks of the poem, the Hanja characters. This one right here is pronounced Yagye in Korean, and it means stream. So simple, right? But it's so important. It's literally the foundation of the whole scene, that gentle, flowing water where this whole story is about to happen. Okay, so we've got the stream. Now who's in it? This character enters the scene. It's pronounced yo, and it simply means woman. And just like that, with one single character, the poet zooms in. We go from this big, beautiful landscape to the very personal, very intimate focus on this one person. Now, check out how the poet describes her. To talk about her feet, he uses this character, sung, which means frost. Now, obviously her feet aren't literally frozen. This is pure poetry. It's a metaphor for how pure and delicate she is. You know, that pale beauty. It's like she's a natural part of this perfect, untouched world. Okay, so let's recap. We've got this absolutely perfect scene, a beautiful woman in a beautiful place. Everything seems wonderful. But this is where things start to change. The poem takes a bit of a turn. It's like a tiny crack appears in this perfect picture, and we start to get a hint that maybe something's not quite right under the surface. And bam, here it is. This is the line that changes everything. Picking and picking lotuses, but the basket does not fill. Think about that. She's doing something. She's actively gathering all these beautiful things, but it's having no effect. The basket isn't filling up. That repetition of picking and picking really drives home how hard she's trying, but still, nothing. The basket just stays empty. So what's going on here? Well, that empty basket, that's a metaphor for her heart. It's so brilliant. She's surrounded by all this beauty, these lotuses, which could symbolize love or affection, but for some reason, she can't hold on to it. It's not filling her up. Her heart feels empty, unfulfilled. It's this perfect picture of the disconnect between what you're doing on the outside and what you're feeling on the inside. And this feeling, this emptiness, it doesn't just stay bottled up inside her. Nope, it starts to spill out and change the way she sees everything around her. That deep longing she feels starts to sharpen into something much more painful. It turns into jealousy. The poem doesn't beat around the bush. It says it straight up. She stops looking at the lotuses she can't seem to collect, and instead, her eyes land on something she desperately wants but doesn't have, a partner. And she gets jealous of a pair of mandarin ducks. So why ducks? What's the big deal? Well, here's why. In East Asian culture, these birds, pronounced wanong, aren't just any old ducks. They are the symbol of a faithful, lifelong love. People believe they mate for life and stay together forever. So can you imagine, if you're feeling this profound loneliness, this deep emptiness, seeing this perfect symbol of togetherness, it would be like a knife twisting in your gut, just absolutely heartbreaking. So seeing those ducks, that's the emotional peak of the poem. That quiet, sad longing we felt earlier has just exploded into this huge, silent, devastating heartbreak. The final lines of the poem are all about this complete internal collapse.
And it happens in two gut-wrenching steps. First, the mandarin ducks fly away, together. It's this perfect picture of a shared journey. And she's just left there, alone. She can't even speak, she can't voice her pain. And then, as she rows her boat back home, all by herself, with that empty basket, the poem tells us her heart breaks in vain.
But listen to the word the poem uses for this heartbreak. It's an incredibly powerful term, danjang, and that literally translates to severed or cut intestines. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. This isn't just feeling sad. This is a grief that's so deep, so physical, that it feels like you are literally being torn apart from the inside. That's the real depth of her pain. Wow. So we've gone from this beautiful, peaceful stream all the way to this moment of absolute physical heartbreak. So what do we do with that? What's the lesson here? What can a 600-year-old poem possibly teach us about our lives right now? What this poem does is it maps out a totally universal emotional journey. It shows us that even when things look perfect on the outside, there can be this deep, unspoken longing on the inside. It makes it okay to feel that progression from longing to jealousy to just pain. And what's really important is that the poem never judges her for feeling this way. It just presents her pain with this incredible, quiet dignity. And that right there is the wisdom of it all. The real beauty of this poem isn't just that pretty picture at the beginning. It's in how honest it is about heartbreak. It's telling us that our ability to feel that deeply, to feel that danjang, that gut-wrenching sorrow, is a huge part of what makes us human. And facing that pain, acknowledging it, that's not a weakness. It's a profound human experience. So I'm going to leave you with this to think about. We all have those empty baskets in our lives, right? Those things we long for that just don't happen. So the question is, instead of just pushing that pain away, how can we maybe learn from this poem? How can we find a quiet dignity, maybe even a strange kind of beauty, in just admitting to ourselves, yeah, this hurts, this longing is here, and just letting it be?